Researchers found 1 in 4 female sex workers in Tijuana and Ciudad Juarez say they entered the sex trade in their teens. Joining me with details are my guest, Professor Jay Silverman, author of the UC San Diego study published in this month's Journal of the American Medical Association, and Alma Tucker, founder of La Casa del Jardín, a safe house for sex trade victims in Tijuana. And Jay, tell us more about your findings. How many sex trade girls were part of the study, and what did the study reveal?
A little over 600 women and girls were interviewed in Tijuana and Ciudad Juarez, and as you said, 1 in 4, a little over 1 in 4 of the participants reported entering the sex trade before they were 18. Actually, 1 in 8 reported entering when they were ages 15 or younger. We had girls who were as young as 11 or 12.
What are some of the specific risks to teen sex workers as opposed to adult sex workers?
Well, it's a really important question. What we found was, although violence is certainly something that all people in the sex trade are at risk for, the violence suffered by these people who came in as minors, these young girls, was far, far higher. In fact, 1 in 5 of these girls reported being violently victimized and to make them have sex with male clients. 1 in 5 of them reported that they had to have sex with very high numbers, more than 10 clients a day in their first month in sex work. And very importantly, in terms of disease, a full third of them coming in as children reported not being able to use condoms at all to protect themselves from pregnancy or from HIV. Subsequently, we saw tremendously high prevalence of HIV infection among this high-risk group, this group who came in as children, where just about 6% of them were HIV infected, which is much, much higher than we see for the general population.
And Alma, you run Casa del Jardín, the only shelter for sex trade victims in Tijuana. What do the victims tell you about what they've experienced?
Well, at that age, they don't even identify they're being abused. We have a child, 9-year and 10-year-old, and when they came to the shelter, took them 6 months to really identify themselves as victims. And after those 6 months, they say, Alma, before I came to this house, I didn't knew then that what's happening to me was abuse. They kind of normalize, they think it's normal. Then it's a lot of guiltiness, it's a lot of shame, they're afraid, and mostly because the people who are taking advantage of them is somebody very close to them. Sometimes their own family, and it's somebody that they trust. Then it takes time to rebuild that confidence in others.
So the people closest to them have introduced them into the sex trade business. How does the center help them?
Well, we'll provide all kinds of services, the basic ones from home, clothes, medical assistance, legal assistance, psychology, therapies, and an attorney. We advise them in any legal matters that they're involved. And most of everything, we encourage them to do sports and activities, because there's so much pain that they're going through, then they really need to get into their feet and learn other ways. We have children that they come to the house and they don't know how to read and write because they haven't taken them out of schools to make them ignorant and not to well know that what is happening to them is abuse.
And Jay, sex trafficking, of course, we know happens on both sides of the borders. What protections are here to help victims?
Well, here, most of the programs that we have here in Tijuana and elsewhere relate to really criminal justice system. It tends to be after the fact. That said, there are several smaller programs that do assist victims who have been identified on this side of the border. Unfortunately, on the other side of the border, although the problem is huge, Casa del Jardín is the only program, and that's not a coincidence. It's very, very, very hard work to do that. Surprisingly, very few people have lined up to support. It's also, as you know, a tremendously profitable business, and so some of the most powerful constituents are not particularly supportive of programs to really reduce this issue. So it's a tremendous challenge.
How would you like to see this study used to help the problem resolved?
I would like to see this study used, one, to break down barriers that people have to say this is just an anecdote, we don't really know how many. We're talking about thousands of young girls who are being violently victimized. We'd like to see the systems such as child protection, foster care, juvenile justice, the healthcare sector, dealing with vulnerable girls, such as girls who are becoming pregnant at young ages, really be poised to help identify those girls who are vulnerable to falling into the cracks of being exploited, often by male partners, to really be sold for sex at young ages. This is something that we need to focus on prevention.
All right, Jay Silverman and Alma Tucker, thank you so much.
Thank you.